Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of The Open, a weekly series hosted by me, John CC, every Monday for the weekly Open, where we break down and discuss technical analysis of Bitcoin and what we can expect for the coming week. So I'm starting off this week's episode of The Open the same way I started out the last 2 weeks of The Open. We look at the weekly time frame and look at the potential Elliott wave count. So I've mentioned this before. I do believe that we are still ongoing a wave 4 correction. And once that completes, I do expect us to make our way for the fifth leg of this Elliott wave cycle to make our potential double top around 17K to 20K area. So if we look at this count, this looks to be a 1, 2, this is an extended third, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course, we're still going this wave 4 correction. Now, if you look at the daily, from our local top at 14K, we can count a clear 3-wave move here for the A, 1, 2, 3-wave move for the B, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to make a 3, 3 flat 5, 3, 3, 5 flat, and what could potentially be the end of the correction. But based on current price action and what I'm seeing overall in market structure, it does look like our wave 4 correction is still ongoing. Now, I'm not quite sure what the structure we're going to get is yet and what the target is currently, but let's take a look at what happened after the 335 flat completed. So normally your corrections and Elliott wave counts are going to be some sort of flat or a zigzag, and it's usually a 3-wave move, like an A, B, C. And in those 3-wave moves, you have subdivided moves. For example, in this A, we have 3 waves, in this B, we have 3 waves, and in the C, we had 5 waves. So if this is the end of correction, what we can expect is the first move up to be a 1, and then a move down, subsequent move down will be the 2, and then we should get an impulse for the 3, 4, 5. Now, what we're seeing currently right now in the market hasn't invalidated this quite yet. If you look at different time frames, you might get different responses and different answers to this question. But at the current moment, it looks like we are trying to make our way up for the third leg, but there just isn't enough volume, enough strength from bulls to start this impulsive wave up. So it looks like this is still an ongoing correction, and we can look at the daily's count. If we look at this here, this looks like a clear 1, 2, 3 wave move here. If we look at lower time frames, you might get different response, but we're going to focus right now on the daily because with Elliott wave theory, if you're counting on different time frames, you're going to get different counts. So the fact that we see a 3-wave move here makes me think that this is some sort of complex correction. If we had a 5-wave move up for the A, then yeah, this would be impulsive. We will come back down for a 3-wave move for this 2, but instead we have a 3 and a 3. So when we have a 3 and a 3, it looks like this is probably some sort of X wave. X waves are usually broken down into 3-wave moves. So you have a 1, 2, 3, and in those 3-wave moves, you're probably going to have a 5, 3, 5 or a 3, 3, 5. Same structure that you have in normal corrections. It's just an extension. But X waves could also be triangles. So what I'm currently leaning on right now is that this is probably some sort of complex correction. We have the ABC to form the W. We have potentially, not quite sure yet, a 1, 2, 3A, a 1, 2, 3B, and right now I'm not sure what we're going to get for the C. So we could get 1, 2, 3 for the C, like so. Another 1, 2, 3 for the D, and then something like this for the E, and then we should come down if this is still an ongoing correction. And that would form a WXY complex correction, which could be the potential end to our wave 4. So now that we have a clear idea of what we're looking at on the daily, let's look into the 4-hour lower time frame and kind of see on a micro perspective what we're looking at here. So I mentioned to you guys before that from here, here, and here look like a clear 3-way move on the daily. But on the 4 hour, this could be interpreted as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, this wick is really bizarre, so it kind of makes things a little bit strange. But there was like a 15-minute candle that took price of Bitcoin from, I believe, 9,200 to 10,000, an $800 increase in 10 minutes. So yeah, it's quite debatable, but I think that you can count this as a 1, 2, 3, primarily because you can also see that on the daily. This right here is looking very, very complex. Not quite sure what it is yet. So if this were to be the start of the impulsive wave 5 to the upside, we could expect this to be a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I was quite bullish in the beginning because I thought that this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there's a huge concern about the lack of volume. Volume has been pretty much decreasing ever since the CFTC announced that they're going to be investigating Bitmex. I recently followed this group on Twitter. They're called The Token Analysis. You can check them out. I highly recommend you give them a follow. They did a great look into what has been happening to Bitmex ever since the CFTC announcement. You can see that the green is the inflow of money coming into Bitmex and purple being the outflow of money coming out of Bitmex. And right after the announcements, probably pretty much made on the 17th and 18th, you saw a huge amount of money coming out of Bitmex. And yeah, ever since then, price has been steadily on the decline. And you can see that in trading volume as well. You see that volume has been steadily declining. So this is quite concerning to me. We can also attribute the fact that we are in summer. So a lot of traders probably on vacation now or taking a break. And yeah, why not? We had a huge run. Market needs to cool off a little bit. So it does look like to me now that this is probably no longer going to be the end of the wave for correction. And we are extending the correction with a complex structure, what looks to be probably a X-wave triangle. Now, if this is a triangle, what we can expect now is a ABC upside 3-wave move. And now this could be like kind of a little bit more complex, but when we see a 3-wave drive to the upside, that's going to complete our C-wave move. Now, if we don't see a 3-wave move, let's say instead we see a clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we see a 5-wave move, what we're going to have is a 3, 3, 5 flat for our X wave. So the X will terminate here, and we will get one more move down for the Y. So regardless of whether we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or a 1, 2, 3, I do expect this correction to continue. I think that anything that we get will be a temporary move to the upside. And of course, if we do come up impulsively and we break this high here, and we clear this order block, this red order block here, if we come up very impulsively, then I will start to be a little bit more bullish. But for the time being, I do believe that we are correcting. We see a decrease in volume, which is very typical of triangles. And it looks like bulls are not stepping up to defend this area too much. So we had a wick into this OB this morning to start off this week of trading when the weekly candle closed. But with this decrease in volume, we are not getting enough momentum to push us out. And I do believe that whatever we're going to get in this week of trading will only be a continuation of the correction. So like so, we will probably reject, come down, probably come up, and then come back down to the triangle. So let's take a look at some of our EMAs and yeah, what we're looking at in terms of resistances. So if we take a look at the 4-hour here, yeah, like I said, guys, volume is pretty abysmal. If we do get an increase in volume, yeah, then we're going to get a little bit more of a stronger bullish bias. But for the time being, we look at this medial line of the Bollinger Band. This is still rejecting here. The current moment, it looks like we're probably going to retest it. I do believe that the market is a bit oversold. So we could get a nice move up here to test this red 50 EMA and potentially make your way up for the blue and purple EMAs. The 200 is the blue and the 100 being the purple. Not quite sure if we're going to have enough momentum reject to pass through, but I do believe that we will probably retest this area around low 10,300. If we do so, we are probably going to get the C wave. Yeah, 10,300, maybe something like this. Barney from my Discord pointed out the potential of us being in some sort of barrier triangle, just because of the fact that it looked like we kind of made almost a double bottom here, right? This is pretty much dead on as a double bottom, and looks like the triangle is just going to continue grinding, so like this and like this. So I don't want to force my bias that this is a triangle onto you guys. It's just the probability of this scenario seems the most likely, based on the fact that triangles have declining volume as it progresses. We're getting low amount of movement in terms of bullish momentum. So I do believe that this triangle is pretty much what's going to play out. And then once we hit here, this E, we're going to start coming down for the last leg of the correction. If we look at the daily price action is extremely bearish. I was bullish and I was trying to remain bullish, but again, without volume, there just isn't that much convincing, I guess, attitude towards this move up. So for the bulls, we haven't made a low yet, but it does look like it's pretty close with this wick. We rejected off of this medial Bollinger Band line here, and it looks like we could get another move up to reject again. I'm not quite sure. Now, there is enough room on the MACD, and yeah, RSI is now 41, so that's pretty bearish. Stochastic RSI is giving room. So there's room and momentum for this to go up higher, but unless we see an increase in volume, I'm not convinced. So the last thing I want to look at for this week's episode is wave trend. If you look at the 4-hour wave trend, it looks like bearish momentum is kind of slowing down, but bullish momentum is definitely not picking up. Looking at the VPVR, we have a huge amount of resistance here. So there's a lot of hurdles for bulls to overcome, and just enough and not enough volume to take us through. So what my prediction is, we probably get, looks to be like a slight move up, kind of retest some order blocks here. This is the most apparent one, around 10,000 to 10,300. I do believe that we will reject. Now, if we get a 5-wave move up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we start rejecting, then this should complete our X wave. If we get a 3-wave move up like this, and then another 3-wave move down, then we know that we're probably going to be in our barrier triangle like so. Looking at lower time frames, the 15, yeah, for today, I do believe that this is potentially a good scalp. I know that a couple people in the Discord are already long. 30-minute, yeah, is saying the same type of thing. It looks like we're going to get a small bounce. I'm not quite sure how big it's going to be, but the fact that we have no volume makes me not want to play this. For me personally, I've been playing a little bit of scalps. I was originally trying to swing long, had a couple positions that worked out pretty well, and then I took a loss on another, primarily because of the fact that I was so bull biased. But since we had no volume coming in, I quickly shifted to a neutral bias, and for the time being, I'm remaining slightly bearish, just because there's no volume and we're not getting enough momentum to see bullish fervor starting to pick up again. I do believe that the market is overbought. It looks like it's time for the correction to go on a little longer, but I am still remaining bullish on the fact that we could retest our highs at 20K from 2017 to complete what I'm looking at for the long term, which is the fact that we are in a wave 4 correction and we still have the wave 5 move coming up soon. So guys, with that being said, I wish you guys a great trading week. Stay safe and always remember, let the profits come to you.